Everybody, Jeff Linder, Jeff Johnson here with the very originally named Eastern Iowa High School Basketball Podcast. First time doing this winter. We're going to try to do this every week from here till we get to the postseason. And JJ, how are you doing?
Good. And the postseason is going to be here sooner than later, Lindy, which is just, season's really gone by quickly, I think. So, fun. This is fun here. The second part of the year is where everything starts getting ratcheted up. So
7 weeks till the girls' state basketball tournament, 8 for the boys. It's going to be here before you know it. I think a big key is you look outside at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. It's not totally dark yet, so you kind of see the postseason on the horizon.
Exactly. That's huge. We'll be seeing sunlight here by 6 o'clock before you know it. So, and you know what that means? Not looking too far ahead, but track and field and soccer season, right? Outside.
Yeah, that's right. Looking forward to that, but certainly not wishing the season away with basketball, and a lot of good stuff to look forward to. I've got, as far as the girls are concerned, I'm down to one area unbeaten. I've got Iowa City High. You've got 2 left, and you said they play very soon.
Yeah, Mid Prairie and Monticello play River Valley Conference game Saturday night. So it's kind of strange. We with 3 unbeaten teams here this season, this point of the season. So Mid Prairie's been really dominant. Played at a tournament right before Christmas out in Kansas City and beat a school from Kansas City. So that's very impressive. And Monticello just, reloading with all the, had a number of guys graduate, 4 guys, starters that were huge parts of the run that they've been on here, 2 state tournaments in a row. And they've been able to fill in those pieces and be really good. And, City High just being City High, right?
Yeah. And they're not blitzing people, but they're getting enough done to keep that perfect record going. They've had some close games, and including a big comeback win against Iowa City Liberty in overtime the other day. Back to the Monticello boys. Are they 2A or 3A this year? I know they bumped up to 3A last year. Are they still at that level?
No, they bumped back or dropped back down to 2A this year. So they've been on that yo-yo. They made state 2 years ago in 2A and impressively made it in 3A last year, and then back down to 2A. And honestly, Jeff, I look at it, 2A is just unbelievably good. By far the strongest class, in my opinion, when you look at the schools and the number of teams. I was sitting there trying to do my rankings this week, and I sat there and I legit could make a top 20 instead of a top 10 in 2A. So I don't know if the fact that Monticello's in 2A is a huge benefit this year, to be honest with you. So
is that still a class where there's a lot of power up in Northwest Iowa, the Boyd Halls, the Western Christians, and all that?
Exactly. Boyden Hall, Western Christian, and, Central Lyons number 1 right now, and has an incredibly impressive resume, beating all the schools up there. Esterville Lincoln Central beat Western Christian. So I don't know how they're going to split all that up, up there in Northwest Iowa, but it's not just the Boyden Halls, the Western Christians that are really good this year. There's other schools up there that have proven their worth, and it's just up and down the class. It's just there's a lot of really good basketball.
Is Southeast Valley, is that a 2A school?
Yeah, they've got the kid who signed with Iowa who wrestles and plays basketball. How about that?
He does both very well, it sounds like.
Yeah, he's averaging like 20-some a game in basketball, and I think he was state runner-up maybe last year in wrestling as a heavyweight. So
I think he's 4th, and I think he's ranked 2nd this year from what Manning was saying.
How do you do that? Seriously.
Well, I suppose at heavyweight, you don't have to cut weight. Maybe maybe you're kind of comfortably at a point where you don't have to worry about a whole lot of weight cutting. So I suppose you can make that work. I don't know. So
Yeah,
I've never seen anything like that.
No, and to do it so successfully is even so much more impressive. So
yeah, one of the comical things in my high school when I was growing up was watching the wrestlers play basketball before school as part of their their workout, and that was they couldn't do both. So,
yeah, the funny thing was, you play like in gym class and things like that. I mean, those guys would they'd power you up inside always, wouldn't they? They were
you took a
definitely
beating.
power players on the interior. So,
Dribbling was optional.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So, you talked a little bit about City High, Jeff, but how about the Valley as a whole on the girls' side?
Well, let's see here. I got my standings here in front of me. City High 6-0. I maintain that they're the class of the Mississippi Division. Iowa City Liberty's been a really, really nice surprise. The arrival of Jasmine Barney really made them a force. They took City High to overtime the other day. They're sitting 4-1 in the conference, 7-4 overall. Linmar's been a nice surprise. They're 4-2 in the league and 8-3 overall. And Cedar Rapids Washington, you can't overlook them with Hannah Stuelke, 8-4. She scored 43 the other last night in a win over Cedar Falls. Valley Division, Waterloo West is 6-0, Iowa City West 5-1, Xavier 5-1, and those three teams are head and tails above everybody in the Valley Division. It sounds like you kind of have a mishmash in the FBC.
Yeah, this is as parity-driven of a valley as I've seen in years, maybe ever, honestly, since I've been doing this gig. So, it's like there's a lot of teams that are good. I don't think there's any great teams, and the bottom is not awful. It's pretty decent. So what does that leave? It's the old cliche, right? Any team can win on any given day or any given night. And we've seen that. I mean, when you look at, I was doing the compare the score things the other night. It's like, okay, Prairie beats Linmar last night, but Linmar beat Kennedy earlier in the year. Kennedy beat Prairie. Xavier beats Liberty the other night, loses to Mount Vernon. Linmar. Washington or Jefferson's been a nice surprise, beats Cedar Falls. Washington's had a ton of close losses, so they're right in every game. Iowa City West, I thought was probably the best team in the league. Goes to Dubuque Hempstead and loses by 15 plus last night. So there's no undefeated teams. It really is. It's going to be really interesting, Jeff, to see how the association kind of sorts this out and decides how to group them together for the postseason. And that's all the way through 4A. When you look at, you've got two top 10 teams out west in Sioux City East and Council Bluffs Lincoln. You haven't had that for a long time. So what do you do with them? I mean, do you make just automatically have them play because they're the teams out west? You put them in the same sub-state. What do you do with the Des Moines schools? Do you matriculate a few west? Do you move some east? So it's going to be really interesting to, when the postseason comes around to see how the association decides to, in 4A to kind of, sort this thing out and decide to group them together. So,
right. You talk about the Des Moines schools and, back to the girls. Probably the biggest feel-good story in girls basketball this year is the Des Moines North girls, who've been that program's just been awful for as long as I can remember. But they're 8-5 this year, and they're the second best team in Des Moines behind Des Moines Roosevelt. They played Valley close. They played Ankeny close. They're competitive with Centennial, and I'd say that's a borderline top 15 team out there, and I think that's great.
Absolutely. And the boys have had some pretty good teams at North too.
Mm-hmm.
Here in recent years, went to the state tournament within the last 5 years. And that's great, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
For schools like that, obviously socioeconomically are among the lowest, that way and always struggle, seems like, in sports. Basketball's a different deal. You only need five girls, five guys, and that really helps. So, that's great. I mean, do you think the suburban Des Moines schools are the cream again in the big class?
I think so. City High is a contender. Waterloo West is a contender. Other than that, it's Johnston, it's Dowling, it's Southeast Polk, it's a lot of those schools, like always. And but again, there's a chance that a City High or a Waterloo West could sneak in and win the thing. So it's deeper out there. The top 6 or 8 teams are really good, but there's some outliers over here that have a shot.
I wanted to ask you, Hannah Stuelke, I think, set Wash's career scoring record, right?
I know she scored 43, which is a school record for a game. She had 42 against Kenny earlier this year. I'm efforting on that. I think that is a school record for career points. I don't have the number yet, but I will. So if it is, Wash has an awfully rich tradition in girls basketball, and if she's at the top, then that's saying something.
I just wondered how you think she's going to fit in. I mean, you think she'll find playing time right away next year at Iowa?
I'm a lot more sold on her now than I was even a year ago. I think she's really made a big leap. In the past, I thought, why is she not playing more on the post? The more I see her, the more I see, she's really good in transition. She gets up and down the floor well. She'll make a nice wing. She might be a kid who it might make sense to play her on the wing offensively, but play her down low more on defense, if that makes sense. Kind of a 3 on offense, 4 on defense, because she rebounds really well. She can outlet well, and she can finish on the other end. So, I think she's going to help them next year, and that might be a piece that they're kind of missing right now at Iowa.
Okay. You saw a really good Tri-Rivers game the other night, right?
Yeah. Top 5 game, and the Tri-Rivers is another league that's gotten deeper on the girls' end, and I know you've said the same thing about the boys. Northland looked really good. Beat Springville 63-51. It was just a terrific basketball game. The thing that I really noticed, the teams combined for 29 assists. So that's really good basketball.
That's sharing the ball. That's good basketball. You're right, 100%. So the boys' side, I mean, it's been kind of nuts. Somebody finally knocked off Northland. First regular season loss to a conference foe, I think, since 2014. Edco did it. Very impressive. Saw Edco the other night. Just watched them play Easton Valley, a couple of borderline top 10 teams. 13 seniors, Lindy. That's the entire roster. They're all seniors. You never see that
for Edco or Northland.
For Edco. So it's that Justin Olin does a great job up there. He's really raised the level of the program there, I think, and and then Easton Valley had a long win streak on the other side of 60 some games. I think Lisbon got them. So you look up and down that league. That's it's a really good league. Edco, Alburnett, Springville, Easton Valley, still Northland. It's good to see. I was telling somebody the other day, and I know the Tri-Rivers has been good on the girls' side for a lot of years, right?
Right. And do you think a lot of that's Northland? Do you think teams have kind of gotten sick and tired of getting buried year after year and think, hey, we better start working. We better start getting our youth program up to snuff so that we can compete with these guys?
Yeah, exactly. I think, again, mentioning Coach Oland at Edco, he said that, it kind of all started with North Lynn, and all the other schools in the league just kind of, like you said, hey, if we're going to compete, we got to raise the level of our play. And I think you're seeing that. It's as good. Honestly, I don't even remember how long I've been covering boys basketball, but it really wasn't a great league when I first started covering it. And now, I mean, multiple teams in the state tournament seems like every year. It's great to see. And it's not just Northland, it's other schools as well. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's on the girls' side, it's really unbalanced. The west side is very, very good. I would say there's probably 6, maybe 7 teams in the west that could probably go over and win the east. It's just that unbalanced right now. Marquette has had some good girls teams in the past. Prince of Peace has been pretty decent. The others have been lagging behind a little bit. But on the west, Northland, I know you're not a big DC Moore computer fan, but I think there's 4 schools in the west that are in the top 11 in 1A right now. Northland, Springville are both top 5. East Buchanan might have its best team ever in 5-on-5. You know what Macocata Valley had last year? They were 2A state runners up. They're a little bit down, but still not bad. Central City's good. Central City's something like 8-4 right now. And, they've really picked up their game behind Sarah Reed. Edco just has one divisional win, but they're not bad states out yet. So that's the West is a monster.
How about maybe some of the other conferences? You said you kind of wanted to go through maybe some of the other conferences and talk about what you've seen. So fire away.
Yeah, we've talked about depth, and I would say the Wamac is at its deepest it's ever been. 13 schools there. I would say 11 of them are at least decent. The league has gotten deeper with the emergence of Mount Vernon again. I guess I should say re-emergence, because it's not like they've been bad for a long time, but they've gone from 1 win to they're 6-6 now. I think they started 0-4 and they won 6 out of 8 under Nate Sanderson. So they've got it going again. West Delaware's gotten quite a bit better. They don't have a whole lot of wins to show for it. I think they've got maybe 4 wins, and they're 4-8. But they're dangerous. They've got some really good freshmen. And I guess I would say the score of the year came last night. They knocked off Solon, 53-52. Has some good size, and they were able to knock off the Spartans last night. So, and the West is good. CPU is a state championship threat, 3A. Benton Community is good. Benton, Williamsburg, Clear Creek, Amana. So the West goes 5 deep. Well, and next year, Grinnell, or not next year, but the year after that, Grinnell comes to the league, so that'll make it even stronger.
The boys' side too, always a good league. Especially when they kind of reconfigured it a little bit. Clear Creek Amana's had a nice start to the year. I think 8-1, ranked in the top 10. Williamsburg's had a nice emergence this year, and that's a 2A school. On the boys' side, lost to Mid Prairie the other night, but only other losses to Fort Madison, I believe, which is a top undefeated number 2 and 3A. Marion's got a nice team. Dyersville Beckman's got a nice team. It seems like in the Wamac, maybe the East is a little better than the West, and it's been that way, for the last, handful of years, maybe something like that. So, how about the Northeast Iowa?
Well, that's kind of been Waverly Shell Rock's domain. It looks like it's trending that way again. They're 5-0 in the league, 9-3 overall. Decora's got a really nice team, 3-1, 7-4. Wacon's competitive at 3-2, 7-5. The bottom isn't very strong, and with an O-line left too, and they hadn't brought a whole lot to the league in recent years. It's still Waverly's league to win or lose, and Decorah is probably the best team, the most likely team to push them.
Yeah, on the boys' side, Decorah has been dominant. John Carlson's done a great job. Really making that a program that's just right on that verge of making the state tournament, and 9-1, just beat Waverly Shell Rock by 15, and Waverly's probably the second best team in that league. And Only loss for Decorah has been to 3 points to Western Dubuque, which obviously is a Valley team. So, yeah, it's Decorah hands down right now, and it'll be interesting to see, kind of how that's set up. The sub-state final loss, I think, last year for Decorah. So, like I said, right on that verge, and I think there's a LaFrance boy coming up here pretty soon. So,
Oh boy.
yeah,
And
that'll
he's
be. He's at Decorah. Rafe actually helps out with the program. Does a lot of things with youth basketball up there as well. So, and I don't remember what grade Rafe's oldest boy is. He's got 3 boys. So, look out for Decorah basketball here in the years coming up here. So,
you talked a little bit about Monticello and Mid Prairie. Obviously, those two are in different divisions. Are those two the cream of the crop in their respective divisions?
yeah, and Comanche too. Monticello
Yeah.
beat Comanche last night, and that was a battle of undefeated teams. I guess a 3-point game as it turned up. So, those 3 are probably the best teams, and Wilton's got a real nice team over there in the South. So that's I think if I had to rank them 1 through 4, that flip a coin for the top 3, and then maybe Wilton number 4. So,
Okay.
How about on the girls' side?
I guess I would say there's probably a big 5 on the girls' side, 2 in the north, 3 in the south. Monticello and Cascade are 10-2 and 9-3 in the north. I would say Regina's a very big surprise in the south. West Branch had won the league the last 2 years, although they did lose a lot to graduation. I kind of thought maybe this was West Liberty's year in the south. Right now, Regina's 10-1. West Liberty 8-2, West Branch 8-3, and we've talked a little bit about West Liberty, what they've done with such a small roster, 7 kids on their roster, and they're sitting 9-3 overall.
That's pretty incredible, isn't it? It is to me. I don't know what it is to you.
It's hard to imagine just how they put practices together.
Exactly. May I have them scrimmage against the boys team or something,
Yeah, they do a lot of 5-on-0 stuff. They don't do a lot of running for drills, and they do the drills for conditioning, and then they just do a lot of fine tuning with their offensive sets. So far it's worked for them.
Great story, just a great story. How about the Sickle on the girls' side?
North Mahaska and Montezuma are definitely 1-2. They're both in the West. North Mahaska's 9-0. They lost their opener to Schuyler County, Missouri, but they've won 10 in a row since then. Montezuma still has a great program, 8-1 in the conference, 10-2 overall. They've got the younger Bolton girl who's still firing away from long range, and another Wettering girl who's playing well. So. Still definitely a good 1A team there, and a team that could make its way back to Des Moines here in a couple of months. English Valley's right now looks like they're the top team in the East. They're sitting 8-2. Iowa Valley 6-2.
Boys side, of course, we've got the. I'm sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I assume it's the Montezuma show and the boys.
No, actually, Monty's lost 3 times. It's tough when you lose 2 great players like Cole Watson and Shearer. Trey Shears was as good a player as there is in the state. So, they're down a little bit. It's kind of been a funny league so far. North Mahaska's kind of been the best team, but they've been dinged a couple of times as well. And kind of looking at it, Iowa Valley got them by 6. Iowa Valley's got a nice team, right up there as well. So. Again, it's kind of one of those any given night kind of things. But, if you push me, I'd say probably your best 2 teams right now are North Mahaska and Iowa Valley, and Montezuma kind of right there. Any team that's got Eddie Burgess on is going to have a chance to win, right? So
Kyoto's generally been pretty good. How are they this year? Are they down?
They're down a little bit. They lost a lot of seniors from last year. Still competitive. Coach Stout does an unbelievable job there, especially for such a small school, always being so competitive and year in and year out. So I'm not sure the quality of the league, honestly. This year is probably not as good as it's been, but I guess it all gets proven out here in the end when the postseason rolls around, right? So, who are we missing? UIC, Upper Iowa. What do you got?
MFL's 9-0 in the conference, 9-4 overall. They do play up a little bit when they don't. They're not playing conference games, so they've played some pretty good competition. They lost all 4 of those. Elkader Central, a lot of juniors on that team. They're 8-1 in the conference, chasing MFL, 11-2 overall. Saw them at Rivalry Saturday. I was very impressed with Elkader, and I think that's a team that could be definitely a state tournament team next year.
The boys' side, MFL Marmac's the best team in that league, undefeated. Only 2 losses have been to Edco by 3, and Decorah got them Monday night quite handily, but that's playing up. So unfortunately, MFL Marmac is in 2A,
Okay.
not 1A. Otherwise, I'd say that they could be a threat to make a kind of a deeper run here in the postseason, but it's going to be really, really tough in 2A. And,
a Montezuma or somebody like that, or maybe an NICL team once they get deep into the tournament.
I think we've hit them all. How about some of the others, as we call them? Unfortunately, we got to come up with a better name than that. But other area schools and conferences that we don't cover.
Well, Jessup, I have started taking a closer look at that league now that Jessup and Union and Oldwine are in the same division, along with Sumner Fred and Wapsie. Jessup's the best team in that league right now. They're 11-2 overall. They've got nicked a couple times outside their division, but I would say of my quote unquote others, that's probably the best team. Mesquakee's got a decent team. They're 9-3 and playing fairly well and beating quite a few teams in the Iowa Star.
That's good because the boys have had some nice teams at Mesquakee here. Sub-state final last year for Mesquakee. Have the girls? Is this kind of a new thing for success on the girls' side? Not necessarily.
They had I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but they had a year that they were 20-4 not long ago. They're generally decent. I think actually they kind of they've taken away some, not taken away, but they've got some of the kids that probably would have been helpers for South Tama.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're very competitive at the 1A level, and I can see them being like a regional semi kind of team this year. But don't know a lot about them. But they've been, just looking at scores, they've been pretty darn good.
Yeah, Iowa Stars have been a good fit, or I think is a good fit for that school.
Yeah, I think so, and that's not a bad league. And when Collins Maxwell and Baxter split, I think that made that league a little bit better, even. So that's kind of how I see it.
On the boys' side, Washington Iowa was a really nice team. Was able to see them Saturday at home. 1 loss, and that's unbeaten Fort Madison. Again, it'll be interesting to see how that gets split up. I mean, they try to keep Fort Madison and Washington away from each other, but very up-tempo team. A couple of really nice guards that can shoot it. So really impressed with Washington, and that's probably the best team on the boys' side in the quote-unquote others. Hillcrest Academy's got a nice team. Coach Gingrich, 800 wins, man. I mean, that's doing some work, right? Yeah. So great guy. He's been a great ambassador for high school basketball, and he hit that milestone this year. They've lost a couple of times to Mediapolis and to a good Winfield Mount Union team the other night. So those probably are the 2 best teams, that way. North Tama's got a decent team, which you would expect with all the, the success on the football side. Capriva, who is a great quarterback, is also a really good basketball player. Imagine that. Yeah. So, that's kind of how that those teams kind of look. Yeah. So
I assume Washington and Mid Prairie will get together and play sometime a non-conference game.
I did not see them on the schedule. I got to double check that. I kind of glanced at that the other night and then just got distracted and didn't. So I'm not sure, but yeah, that'd be perfect, right? They're real close to each other like that.
Yeah.
So, what do you got coming up, Jeff?
Let's see, Friday. It's going to be Friday this week. Weather permitting, sounds like we might have some snow coming. Right now, it looks like I got City High and Xavier on Friday. Haven't really mapped out next week yet. I've got the Iowa women on Sunday against Nebraska again. So that's kind of how we're sitting with that.
Hopefully I'll go out and see Northland. I haven't seen Northland yet this year. They play Alburnett. That's always a good game. So that's kind of the tentative plan on Friday for me. And then next week, just kind of looking ahead a little bit, Iowa City West and Prairie play. So that should be a good game, I think, kind of moving forward. So we talked a little bit off air. We haven't seen, knock on wood so far, we haven't seen like the huge amount of COVID postponements on the high school side. Right. Waterloo West is going through a pause now. They've had 3 straight games banged. And Fridays, I guess, is up in the air. So that's kind of the one notable to me. But they've been the exception rather than the rule. I mean, teams obviously are playing here and there without people. But thus far, it hasn't been there haven't been a lot of postponements on the boys' side. And I assume the same with the girls.
Right. Maybe every Tuesday and Friday you might see 1, maybe 2, but nothing big yet. Knock on wood. Here it's mostly a respiratory illness, the Omicron thing, and it for most people, especially people that are vaccinated, it's just kind of an annoyance more than anything. But a lot depends on the person too.
Yeah, exactly. And we're getting to the point of the year now where teams definitely want to stay away from this.
Yeah.
Because it starts getting more and more important, obviously, a month from now in particular.
Right.
Yeah, knock on wood. We'll get through this. So far, I think everything's been pretty good as far as getting through the season. So,
right. Totally agree. All right. Anything else you want to touch on, or should we call it a day?
Let's call it a day. Thanks for doing this, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll plan on doing this again next week, and don't have a keep your head on a swivel comment, but stay safe, and we'll see you next week.